wheels. And we put it on the roof of a building, and the next morning we found it on the floor. It had rolled with wind and it had fallen off. And I said that, oh, this is like a Russian design, it is still running, sturdy. Chhat pe se gir gaya lekin chal raha hai. So there's a debate still in our company that are wheels good for the RDS or not. So we have both types. We have types with wheels and we have without wheels. We leave it to the customer to decide that. Okay. A small bulb was provided because often you want to change filters at night, and to take a reading for initial flow time totalizer reading, you had to carry a torch. So when Prashadji was doing this modification, he also introduced a small bulb in the brushless BL. The BL solved much of the maintenance issues with the respirable dust sampler, but still there was one issue of noise. It had a significantly lower noise, I think 6 dB or so, lower than the normal high volume sampler or RDS that we were producing with brushes. But yet the noise was audible enough that if it was on the roof, then on the ground or inside the room, people living could still say, "Haan, aaj kuch chal raha hai upar." So it was a bit of a nuisance in terms of noise. And so if I wanted to take a sample in a zone which I normally would not allow noise, like a hospital, like a library, some sensitive area. So this was a nuisance which people felt that the machine was not appropriate for those areas. And that's what prompted us from going to this noiseless model. That was the initial motivation. We were lucky that we discovered a blower which, besides having a very low noise, I think it is significantly lower. Prashadji, correct me if I'm wrong, NL noise is something like 60 dB, 65 dB. Huh? Yeah, but background noise depends. आप ओखला में खड़े हैं या मेरठ में खड़े हैं तो
4-5 dB increase in the noise level takes place if you are operating noiseless, and which is just equal to a room AC, window ACs.
Okay, well he is describing it in another way, but if I remember my figures right, 65 dB is what 60 dB. Yeah, 60 dB is what I remember the NL noise to be, and the old RDS brushes one used to be something like 85, 84 dB, that sort of a measurement. So there's a very significant reduction in the noise output, and as Prashadji has compared it with an AC. Nobody wants to sleep these days without an AC. So if you can tolerate the AC's noise, I think you can tolerate the respirable dust sampler's noise. Okay, the main motivation at that time was to reduce the noise. But as I was saying, we were lucky to find a blower which was extremely rugged in terms of maintenance. And it has really come about because the RPM has come down very significantly. Both noise and wear has progressively improved because the respirable dust sampler blower RPM has reduced. The brush blower used to run at something like 14,000 RPM. The noiseless blower runs at something like 2,400 RPM. So bearing wear has gone down, air speed has gone down, and of course with all that the noise has come down. Because the RPM has come down so significantly, so there is almost no maintenance in the NL blower. We have cases now, I think Johnson Saab is here and he can bear me out, Eureka Forbes. They have been using it for, he was among the early customers of our noiseless machine, and they have been using it at several cities. I think there are some machines which have crossed, I think 10,000 hours of operation, more than that. And the blower is still the same. We have not had to replace the blower. There is now, we are finding some cases where there is an ingress of water. If it rains and water goes inside the system, there is a problem that we have to drain it out, and sometimes we've had motor repair problems associated with ingress of water. We are looking into that, but beyond that, I think the NL machine has proved itself to be a very low maintenance machine. And that is why I am saying for people who want to use it intensively. So pollution aaj tak you see every day, and that is what Eureka Forbes provides data for. You don't miss a day when you are giving that value. So he's got an intensive use where every evening, every morning that sampler is running. It's been running continuously for several years. So with that kind of intensive use, or people who are serious about using the machine on a regular daily basis, then this machine is probably the most recommended variant of the RDS. Pardon me? Maximum flow rate कितना हो जाता है? I think for a new filter, you will get something like 1.3 cubic meter per minute, and as the filter chokes, it will progressively go down. The BL has no flow control system, and so it could even go down to 0.8 or 0.7. But I should caution you here that unlike the high volume sampler, which was doing SPM, I am not too worried in the SPM if the flow goes down, because it only means that I have to average the reduction in flow and account for that by taking initial reading and final reading, and linear decay I can assume. In the case of the respirable dust sampler, you have got that particle separation mechanism, the cyclone, and the cutoff of the cyclone will tend to change if the flow rate reduces significantly. And that is why BIS, when it was adopting a standard for PM10, they have put in a requirement for flow control and shutdown of the instrument if it goes down by more than 15%. So the NLDX was introduced basically for that requirement, that when flow rate is coming down on account of filter choking, then the cutoff of the system can change, because the velocity with which the cyclone is operating, that is going to change. And so am I still getting PM10? That would be a question. And therefore, for particle separation systems, whether it is PM10 or it is PM2.5, maintaining flow rate close to the design value is important, and that is why flow control started happening. I should have mentioned this earlier, but maybe I missed saying that. With the BL and NL, another thing that happened was the type of motor changed. So it's no longer so sensitive to voltage fluctuations. In the BL, we still provide you a stabilizer. It is more as a protection for the blower, because unfortunately in our country, single phase main supply still can mean 160 to 300 something plus. हमारे यहाँ AC मेन्स कुछ भी हो सकता है. रूरल कंट्री फीडर में कई बार मतलब हमारा आप एक ही देश के लोग हैं, और वो एक कुंडी डाल के कनेक्शन भी लिया जाता है, जिसमें एक सिंगल तार डाल दिया और दूसरे तार को नलके में लगा दिया, अर्थ के साथ लगा दिया. सो उस तरह के कनेक्शन में क्या वोल्टेज मिलता है ये भगवान के भरोसे है. रूरल फीडर में 160, 180 वोल्ट आम बात है. एंड विद दीज or any induction motor, any motor system, when the voltage goes down and mechanical load is not changed, then of course the current is going to go up. तो आप एक AC के साथ स्टेबलाइजर क्यों लगाते हैं? क्योंकि आप उसको प्रोटेक्ट करना चाहते हैं. When voltage goes down too low, then either your AC will go off because it can't take the load, or it will get burnt out. And that's why in the BL we've been providing a voltage stabilizer